Okay, so what is prototypal inheritance? So in JavaScript, objects have a special hidden property, prototype. So it's written as prototype here. So the value is of this is either null or it references another object. So that object will be called a prototype. So when we read a property or call a method from an object and it's missing in that direct object, the prototype is then checked for the property or that method, and it is returned or executed. So this process happens automatically, and that process is called prototypal inheritance. So to go over a few examples here, so what we could do is we can create an object called person. We're just going to give this person just a default name. We're going to call them Bob. We're going to give them a last name, Smith. We're going to do a function. We're going to do say hello. And we're going to return hello to that first name and this that last name. Okay, so by default, since we've created a new object here, which is essentially the same as going new object, it's just a shorthand version, the prototype for the person object here will be object itself. So how do we confirm it? How do we look at this? So what we do is we do person dot underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. So this is how you access what the prototype is for an object. So it's the default and original way. So when we go node prototype, we'll see it's set to be the object. So another way to check that, or I suppose a modern way to check what the prototype of an object is to use the object.get prototype of function and pass in person here. So we'll get the exact same answer here now. Okay. So now we know that the person dot underscore proto is object. So you might be thinking, okay, what's the one above that? What is the object's prototype? Well, it's actually null. So if we put in here to confirm that, object, see, empty. So directly above that would be object dot underscore underscore proto is equal to null. So we can see that person prototype is object, object prototype is null. So person will inherit all the properties and functions that are in object. And likewise, any function, or sorry, any object that has the prototype set to be person will inherit anything from person. So everything in terms of properties and functions. So say I create a new object here, we call it customer. So the customer is going to have a new property called region. So we're going to set this customer's region to be Europe. And we're also going to set the prototype of customer to be person. So what this means is that now customer has the same properties as this person object. So it has first name, it has access to last name, it has access to the say hello function. So in this console log statement, if I, for example, did person dot say hello, we're going to get hello Bob Smith. And if I did customer dot say hello, what's going to happen is it's going to go into the customer object. It's going to look for the function say hello. It's not going to see it. It's then going to go and check the prototype, which person here. It goes in and sees say hello, and it's going to return hello Bob Smith. Perfect. Now if we went and changed customer dot first name is equal to Tom, and we said customer dot last name is equal to Clancy, we would now expect to see when the customer dot say hello function is called, hello Tom Clancy. So that's what we see there. Okay, so that's, I suppose, the bones of inheritance when it comes to JavaScript and prototypes here. The last piece to show is when you want to add a function or property to a root object. So over here we can see that the person.prototype is object and the object.prototype is null. What we also know from our code here, our customer underscore underscore prototype, because we have set it, is person. So let's put that in here, customer equals person. So we know that customer inherits or has the prototype of person, person has a prototype of object, object has a prototype of null because it's the root. So say if we wanted to add in a function that was going to be available to every single object going forward, every single object where it's person, where it's customer, any single object going forward, what we can do is we can do an object.prototype, and whatever we add in here, it will be set and be possible to be called or accessed from any other object that inherits from it. So say we're just going to put in a say goodbye here. We're going to do a function, I'm going to pass in name, and what we're going to do is we're going to return goodbye. Oh. Goodbye name. Okay, so now down here I'm just going to do a straight call of the direct function. So object.say goodbye, going to pass in, we're going to say Homer. So we're expecting goodbye Homer to be printed out here. Goodbye Homer, fantastic. So next we're going to confirm that it's available correctly from person. So we're going to do person, say goodbye, Marge. Because over here you can see that person.prototype is the object. So when person.say goodbye is called, we check in here, or the code checks in here. It does not see the say goodbye function. It looks in the prototype. By default, it is object because we've created a new object here. It goes and checks in the object for the say goodbye function. It finds it and executes it. Goodbye Marge. And the final example here is customer.say goodbye, and we'll say goodbye to Bart. So we know from our notes here, customer's prototype is person, person's prototype is object, object has the function say goodbye because we've added it here. So when we execute here, we're expecting to see goodbye Bart because it goes through customer, doesn't see the say goodbye function. It goes to its prototype person. In person, it doesn't see the say goodbye function, so it goes to its default prototype, which is object. Object has the function. So we're going to see goodbye Bart. Goodbye Bart. Okay, so that is prototypal inheritance in JavaScript.